So the agenda of this session would be that we'll be having a quick recap of what we studied last week. Then we will be discussing about functions, how to import modules and packages in Python. We'll not go into much details on the modules because that would come in the later part of the course, but we'll see how you can install a package or how you can import the package to utilize it. Okay. Then we'll also try to pick up pace with error handling. So this is the agenda of today's call because this is not much. And then probably from next week we'll be actually going into data analysis things using some sample data from the online resources like Kaggle, UCI, machine learning repository, or open data sets like from here. So from the next class or the class after that, we'll be start using Excel files to clean our data, to manipulate the data, and to do some data analysis, build some visualizations on that data. So these for probably this week and next week would be the covering the Python basics. Then we'll be moving to what's within the modules, because in Python, if you need to do some advanced things for any specific purpose, you need to have separate modules imported for that, because every module have its own pros and cons. So if you want to do data analysis, you cannot import any module which is for machine learning or data science. So we'll cover that up later in our probably upcoming classes. So give me a thumbs up and then we'll start the call today. And probably by the end of the call, not in the start but in the end, I'll be discussing the assignment. We'll be solving the assignment which I provided you last week, so you'll be having a better understanding of that. So starting with loops. In Python there are two kind of loops: for loop and while loop. While loop is basically an infinite continuous loop which is based on a condition and which is continuous and which won't stop unless you do a specific threshold or a specific set of conditions to break out of that loop. That's the while loop. Like if in while loop, for example, you put while and then you put the condition is if one is greater, while one is greater than two, then print this. So unless and until you prove that condition false within the loop won't stop. It would be a recursive infinity loop. It will run for hours and hours until your either laptop memory crashes or your laptop goes to sleep or something like that. But it won't end automatically unless you put some specific condition. For for loop, for loop is basically a kind of related to while loop, but you can do a lot of conditions in that, and you can limit the loop without putting any explicit condition inside of the loop. Like for while, you need to put any explicit condition to break the rule within the loop. But for, you don't need to do anything like that. In the main condition, in the main title condition, you will give a range or a selective condition to work on. And once that condition is completed or satisfied, then the loop will stop. So this is the base difference in while and for loop. If you look at the syntax, in while, you just need to add your condition here after the function while and then write your code within the loop. But for loop, you need to have a specific set of conditions like for built-in function. I is your variable, for this variable in this range, give me my condition. So what does range function does? Range is basically starting from left, ending at one number before right, which what's on the right, and the third one is the gap. So for example, if you are doing 0 to 21, so this means it will print till 20, and you are taking a gap of 5. So for example, first should be 0, then you have 5, then 15, because the gap is of 5. If the gap was of 3, then it would be 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. It won't print 21 because 21 is the last item in the range. It will only print till 20. How many numbers are coming in under 20 with a gap of 3. Then after loops, so these are the basic scenarios of using loops and all. But when you go into the side of, you can say, data analytics, or if you are doing some automations, so you will know that you will see that you will be using loops a lot. There are different sets of codes that will help you to understand the loops more. But the base, because our point of working throughout this masterclass is to make you understand the basics of Python and how we can utilize them into the data analysis side. So keep this in mind, that if you know the base, then there is nothing difficult for you to work around on that. The most important thing is you need to cover your base so good that you know what function is doing what, and then even if you got the code open source, you know what the code is doing. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you are with me. Okay, that's great. Then we studied about some data structures in Python. Yeah. So in Python, we have multiple data structures, in which four are the most key ones: list, tuples, sets, dictionaries. What's the difference between all four? And what's the common thing? The common thing is that all four are storage boxes. In kind of normal terms, these are your storage boxes. You can store things into all of these data structures, but they have their own rules. Like for example, if we discuss about list, so list is completely mutable. You can add things onto the list, you can do indexing, you can do slicing, you can apply functions or methods like append, remove, pop, insert, like these. So these all can be done on list. Tuples are immutable. Like for example, if you need to set a specific ID and password, instead of using it as a condition, you can just put those into tuples, so that cannot be changed, like some address IDs, postal IDs, that cannot be changed. So add those in tuples, because tuple is the thing which is not mutable, and if you fixed it and run it into a variable, it won't change and it won't allow you to change the values. That's tuple. Sets sets are basically kind of tuples, but it consists of unique elements, and it applies sets operations. And what kind of sets operations it is? It's we'll be discussing sets. I think we haven't discussed sets last week, no? Sets and dictionaries. So let me see. Yeah, so we'll be discussing sets and dictionaries as well. So last week we studied only loops, for and while, then list, and then tuples, and some examples of that. So just give me a minute. Sorry, I was on mute. So starting with sets, a set is basically kind of list or tuple, but there are some different key rules for that. So set is a collection of unique items. Sets cannot contain duplicates. Like tuples are immutable, they cannot be changed or something. Sets cannot have duplicate values. And they are built on curly braces. Like for example, list is always built using the straight brackets, tuples always built using the round brackets, and then you have sets which are built using these curly brackets. So as I mentioned that sets doesn't allow duplicates, so you cannot add that. But in sets, you can have an arithmetic functions. So let me show you with an example. Let's we open these curly brackets. So let me add the difference. Lists are built using this. Tuples are built using this. And then you have sets built using these. So these are the key difference of sets. So just see this what I'm doing. So if you see this example, I have created a set, but when I printed that set, it removed all the duplicate values. So as I mentioned, set cannot contain duplicate values. Either it's a string or either it's an integer. But the thing is, set cannot have duplicate values. Like for example, if we do set 2 equals to, so if you see this, banana, mango, apple. So we need the key difference between sets, tuples, and list is there are two key differences if you want to find it out. First, list uses straight brackets, tuples uses round brackets, and set uses curly brackets. Secondly, lists are always mutable. You can do any kind of functions in the list, append, remove, pop, insert. You can do a lot more. Then in tuples, tuples are immutable. Once you have fixed and executed something, it won't change unless you restarted your kernel, your Jupyter notebook, or whatever else. Then we have sets. In sets, sets is built using curly brackets, and in sets, you cannot have duplicates. Keep in mind, in others, you can have duplicates, tuples or list, but in sets, you cannot have duplicates. So that's why this is printing here. Now, if you, I'm not sure how many of you have studied set functions in schools or colleges. We'll just discuss one or two functions here so that we have a basic understanding of sets and their functions. So let's do an example. Does anybody know what intersection is? Write me in the chat if anybody knows. Okay. So intersection is basically when you have two storage boxes. Let's do it like this. If you have storage box A and storage box B, and in both of the boxes, if you have anything in common, that would be part of the output. And that common thing is you can call that as an intersection. That box A and box B were having a same mobile, and then that mobile was a common thingy between both twos. This means that this is an intersection. So let's clarify this here. So these are my two sets. So what we'll do, we'll put the first set, then we'll put the function, and then we'll put the second set. So my question to you guys is, intersection. As I mentioned, that intersection returns the common elements from both the storage boxes or all the storage boxes which you have given to that condition. It will return the common elements. So if I ask you that what are the common elements in set 1 and set 2, write your answers in the chat. I'm giving you 3 4 minutes. Write that and then we'll start. Let's see who answered. Matthew, good check. Perpetua, Isaac, Ivara. Let's see what the answer is. 2 and 5. Because intersection means, and these functions are only for sets. These cannot work on list and tuples. For that, you need to do separate code. These are built-in functions which are only usable when you are using sets. So if I zoom this a bit, This is my first list. This is my second list. What's common in both? Two, two. Is three in here? No. Four in here? No. And five. So these two are common in both. Yeah, Matthew, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Uh,
Please, I would like to ask, like, the string format, the dot lower, upper, and like other string formats, would they be able to work on this set? Let's say, like, if we want to convert, let's say we have the set now and wants to convert everything there to capital letter using the dot lower. Will it work? Will it work, sir?
so you are talking about, let's see your example.
Okay, sir.
You are talking about, so, so it prints to Python. Let's see if it works on index. No, you cannot do indexing because in set you will be having multiple values, or either if one value you need to call this value, because set works as a storage box in which you have multiple things. So you need to first find out which thing you are looking for, and then you can do upper lower functions on that thing. But in sets you cannot find that out because that's a complete list. So for that you need to
Okay,
either
sir.
use a different variable or either you can use list. Okay,
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
great. So just like intersection returns the common things which are available in both sets, and intersection, this function is only available in sets, not other things. So just give me a quick thumbs up if you understand this. That's great. So just like intersection, what is union? Union is basically, it combines two sets with all unique elements from both the sides, and it sorts them in order. So this means that it will print each and everything from both the sets, excluding duplicates, and it will put it in order. Okay, I'm giving you 2 3 minutes. Analyze this and see what you can write as an answer for this. Then I'll explain it. So let's see. Matthew, that's one, two, three. Matthew, you missed one, but I'm pretty sure that that's a typo error because you have got this right. Isaac, really good. Perpetua, really good. Yeah, Matthew, you have corrected it. Glad. Ivara, that's good. So I just want to tell that I need some more input from the people like Abubakar, we have Joshua, we have Daniel, we have more people in the call. So, but in every class, I can see only few people interacting. So I would encourage you all as well to put your answers. You don't need to speak, you don't need to come up on the mic. Just put your answers. It will boost up your confidence. Even if the answer is incorrect, that's not a worry because we are all here for learning. And unless you try to answer anything, then it would be more easier for you. So glad, Daniel. That's good. So let's see. Let me. So here you go. Sets. So we'll be studying these functions only because there are loads of functions in sets, but the syntax would be same. And the other functions, they are not. They're like very deep down into the programming, and probably in the real life in data analysis, you use this, but you use this less. So we'll be covering these remaining sections, which are not quite important, into our conclusion section in the last class. We'll be having one extra class in which we'll be having a quick revision of each and everything from the start, and then we'll work around on that. So now we have studied sets. Now it's time for dictionaries. So this would be an important piece. Just make sure you guys understand this piece. Just let me know if sets is clear and intersection union. Just give me a thumbs up. Okay, great. So, so similar to sets, we work using. So dictionaries, in easier terms, if I say that dictionaries are basically a key value pair. What do you mean by key value pair? So it's like a NoSQL in which you can store the data based on your column names. By column names, what I means, or by key value pair, what I mean is that, for example, you are a student. So your student records are saved in a section, like in a file, in which against your name column, it's your name. Against your age column, it's your age. Against your country, city, it's your country and city name. So these are key value pairs. Key is the column name, and value is the attribute or the value you are having in that column based on that key. Okay. So dictionaries can also be built using these brackets. So take one. So this is a dictionary where key value pairs is that name, So now, if you can see this, this is just like a form, or this is just like a database or a table. It's not kind of table, but it acts something like that. Like for example, against my name, I have put my name value. Against age, I have put the age. Against hobby, I have put that. Against course, I have put that. So you can use this. So let's print this. Let's see. So my bad. Because you need to assign key value pairs, you need to use colons. Uh, let's print it this way, like this. So you can see that this is my storage file in some senses. So in this, I have my details against the column. So for example, if you see any detail, like for example, if you see any 9-digit number by itself, you might be confused that what this number is. Like, because whenever you are doing data analysis and you have a data set, you know that this column means this means this, these numbers are these. So for example, if you don't have that key value pairs, so it would be difficult for you to identify which thingy means which, and then it might lead to incorrect analysis, and it will not help you in any case. So you need to understand that on the left side of when you are creating a dictionary, on the left side it's the key, and on the right side it's the value for that key. So now I have printed it, and you can see it's basically my biodata. And now if you want to see if you want to print that, okay. So from the storage box, if I need to find a value, I need to get the key for that value. Okay. So this is called dictionaries. In this dictionary you can update things as well, like dict one age equals to 21, rent, and just let this take one. So you can update this as well. So let me show you an example of a nested dictionary. So there might be a question that in a data set, or in real time scenarios, we'll be having multiple records. So how would you differentiate those? Just let me know. Do you guys understand these key value pairs in dictionaries? Just give me a thumbs up. So let's get a nested dictionary example. So wait, let's see user dictionary. Okay. Now in this user dictionary, I'm adding ID 1101 and then the pair we have name. So on. Then you have age. Let's keep two things. Okay. Now this is my first user. So this is like biodata or something. Now let's see user dictionary. So now I have in one dictionary, like for example, if you go in school, you might be having a specific IDs. So whenever you go to the information office, they'll ask for what's your ID, and then they pull up your records. So every ID have unique sets of key value pairs, which assigns all that information to that ID. So now I have multiple IDs. Now I need to get information for 1103. Okay, so the name is Peter and age is so what I need is I can find the ID. So I have the ID, but I don't know the name. Or if I need to find the email of that. But like we don't have email in this, let's find the name. So what I'm stating that go to my records file in which we have thousands of students. If you know the student ID, search the student ID and get me the student name so we can add further things onto that. So here you go. So dictionary is a really important piece. You can play around dictionaries. You can use them as your storage databases because it's really good. So I'm giving you 5 minutes from now to grasp this. Let's use this to grasp this, and then we'll be starting the conversation after 5 minutes. Just give me a thumbs up if this dictionaries are clear. That's great. So now let's let's do error handling first. So what are basically error handling? When you do your code, or when you are unsure about your code, or when you need to test your code, these comes with two sets of conditions. One is try and one is accept. This is basically, in simple English terms, this means try this code. If this code doesn't work, then print the code in the accept section. So I'll just write the code and then I'll explain it. So let me try this code, print. We'll do something simple. 1 plus AB, then accept, print, try condition is not working. This is accept. So have you seen this? If you only do this, it will give you an error. But as we are handling the error, so if you write this in your statement, try and accept, so it will try that code, and if the code is giving you an any kind or any sort of error, it will not return the error. It will jump to the accept section and see have what you have written in the accept section. So let's try anything else. Print 1 plus 2 plus 3 accept. That's print. So it printed y. So if your code is working in this condition, then it won't, and it will not jump to the accept clause. If it's not working, then only it will jump onto accept clause. So let's try two different things. So if you need to combine all of the things in your error handling, it will give you three different functions: try, accept, and finally. If you think of these functions in basic English terms, try means you need to try this. Accept means if something is not working, this is an acceptable and alternative way. Finally means that's the last step. Okay. So if we talk about this code, we have added our specific number of code here, a specific set of lines of code here in here. If this will work, it will print the try and ignore except. So let's assume these two conditions, they are linked. So either one will work in this both case, and once that's done, you will print the finally clause. So finally means if your try and accept thingy is sorted out, then print me. It doesn't matter whether the code is correct and you printed the try statement, ignored the accepted statement, if, or if your try statement is incorrect and you have printed the accept statement. In either case, you need to print this finally clause if you are using it. You can use try and accept without that as well. But if you use this, like for example, if in this case our try condition is true, so it printed the try condition and directly jumped to the finally condition because try and accept are linked. It will print either one of this. In this case, try condition is giving an error, so it printed the accept condition, but with accept condition, it printed the finally clause as well. So just to make sure, whenever you do code and you know that you are testing it out, you need might have some errors or warnings and you need to ignore them. You just use an alternative way for that. So for example, if sometimes it's incorrect, just use the other thing instead of this. So this is the whole purpose of try, accept, and finally. So this is the basic thing of how you handle the errors. You can print like 1,000 lines of code in this try statement. But if on 990th line, it will give an error, so it will ignore each and everything and print. Let's see. Let's see if that does work. Yeah, let's see. Let's remove the finally clause. I'll add this in a new line. So then when I'll share the notebook, you have the copy of these. So as you all know, Python is an interpreter. It's not a compiler. So what's the difference between an interpreter and a compiler? Compiler is compiler compiles all the code first at the backend and then print it out. Interpreter works line by line. So in try statement, if in this your error was on this line, so it will print all these lines, but it will not print these because it will break on error and then it will give you accept condition because you have an error in the code and then it will give you the finally clause like you see. So in this case, so this is an exceptional case in which in your try statement, some of your code is working, but some of your code is not working. So as Python is an interpreter, so it will interpret each and everything line by line and see on which line it's an error. So after that error line, it won't run the code in the try statement, it will jump to the accept statement. So simply in simple terms, you can see that try and accept are a combination of correct and incorrect code. If your code is working, it will be printed in the try statement. If it's not working, it will jump onto the accept clause. I'm giving you guys 5 to 6 minutes to understand, to look at this, and then we'll continue. Uh, Guys, so just give me a thumbs up if it's clear or not. If this try and accept is clear to you, just give me a thumbs up so we can move forward. Okay, great. Let's so let's wrap this up by working on modules and packages. Then in the next class we'll be working on functions in detail and how and what libraries work for. Let's go for yeah. Let's go for module packages, how you can install them, or modules and libraries packages are the same thing. So you need to install it. Some are pre-built in, the basic packages which are used in the daily life and which are most commonly used, or else others you need to import it because Python doesn't take much of the space on your system. So based on your needs, like for example, if you are building machine learning models, you can import those packages. So for installing these packages, there is a command called pip in Python, pip. This pip command can use these ones. So let's understand this. So install means, for example, if you want to install any package, you will write pip, then install, then package name. Then it will install the package for you. Then to download the package, to install the package, to freeze it, inspect, list. You can, when you run pip, you can see all these commands in detail, and then you can view and understand these commands. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay. So if I do show pip show, um, because this is my notebook, I'm just wondering if I can see. Okay. So pip list, it will show you your installed packages. So a lot of these packages, like 90% or 95% of these packages are pre-installed. Like for example, what I personally use is, let's from the start what I installed. So these are all pre-installed, system installed, all. I installed this package for web scraping and scraping the data. Then all these are pre-installed for systems. Then Flask I installed for backend development when I was working initially. So apart from that, what we have, these all are pre-installed. I might have missed some packages above, but I'm telling you the core ones. So Matplotlib will work on this package as well. This package is for data visualizations. So if you need to install it, what we'll do, if it's not installed, pip install matplotlib. It will install the package for you. Then numpy we might use this as well. NLTK, this is for uh, natural language processing, like reading out and extracting things using text messages and all. Pandas, this is one of our main packages, core packages for data analysis. We'll be using this most in our next classes. Then you have payload. This is for converting your script into an application or something. Then you have like loads of packages, a lot of packages. So this will show you the list of your packages. Okay. So like for example, now you have installed pandas. Okay. So let's assume now you have installed pandas and now you need to import pandas and work on it. So how will you import? You will write this function import pandas, your package name, and an alias to that, because every time you need to call a function from that package, you need to provide anything related. So if you don't provide this, every time you need to write pandas dot this, pandas dot this. Remember what we did with the sets, set one dot intersection, set one dot union. So you need to then write the full name. So instead of writing the full name, it's the best practice to utilize the aliases as PD. So now whenever you need to call a function, instead of pandas, you just write PD dot and then the function name, and then it will work. In the similar way, you have NumPy and all others. So math and random packages, what they do is, let's try using a package. So let's use import random as rn. Okay, I have imported random as rn. Now you guys are familiar of like whenever you do login or sign in or authentication, you get a like 6 7 digits code. Let me see what I'm doing wrong in here. It's been a while I haven't used this package, man. Yeah, got it. I'm writing the package name in here. So you know that whenever you generate an OTP, so some companies have a 4 digit OTP, some companies have a 6 digit OTP. So every time you ask for an OTP, you always get a new number. So that's done using this random function. So this is my random range. So for example, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So start from this number and this number give me a combination of 6 digits different every time. So it will give you different number. Like note the number changes every single time. 8 4 5 7 9 2 7 2 8. When I run it again, it will give you different, again different, again different, again different. So every time you execute this, it will give you a different number. So we have imported random. So if we haven't used this alias, what we can then do is we can then still work as well like this. Like, but the issue in here is like if you have like 1,000 lines of code and you are using this into your 100 or 200 lines, then it's really difficult to catch up with this. So just use an alias for these kind of thingies. So whenever you try to practice or you need to understand what pip is, write pip, press run, it will give you this, read this out. This is just kind of a manual, and this is the one of the modules which we discussed today, random module. So this is basically for OTPs, authentications, because every time you run it, it will give you a new number, and then you can use this as an OTP of yours. Okay. Let me know if this pip thing and random module is clear, how to import a module, how to install a module. Give me a thumbs up. So, So now let's do the assignment. We'll continue in 5 minutes. Let's have a quick 5 minutes break. We'll continue and then we'll work on this assignment and then end the class. Just give me 5 minutes. I'll then start. Uh, so let's start with the assignment and then we'll end the class. So, what's the assignment? The assignment is take 5 user inputs using while or for loop and save it in a list using the append function and print the list at the end. Okay. So we'll print names. Okay. Names list. We have created an empty list. Then we created a for loop in which we have given a range of 5. So it will now we'll ask user input, enter our name. Okay. And input is already in string, so we don't need to do anything. Then names list dot append in. Okay. So let's try this. First input is Hamza. Then you have Michael. Then you have Josh. Then you have Ben. Then you have Rob. Okay. So it's now saved the list. Let's see how the list looks like. Initially, the list was empty. Now you see. So instead of, let's come out of the loop and print it in the same function. Same like code, not same function. So first we have an empty list. We have given the loop, the for loop, a range of 5. We can do it using while loop as well, but I have done is this using for loop. Then we have taken a user input. Every time we take a user input, we alter that variable. We put that user input into that variable and we append the list with that variable. Okay. So let's start again. Hamza, Peter, Mike, Andy, Sandra. So you see the list is printed. We have done. So this is something like, you can say that how you store things dynamically into your storage boxes. So for this, we haven't prefixed any name, we haven't entered any name by our own. We have done each and everything using user input. Now let's see how we can do it with while loop. Okay. The same thing, we have taken the list I equals to 0, a variable. Let's call it var. Then while var is less than 5, give me this, append this, and var equals to var plus 1. Okay, let's see now. Hamza, Mike, Josh, Sandy, Sandra. Here you go. You can do it as while loop as well. You see, there's just a difference of a little bit syntax. In here, in the function, we have already given the range, but in while loop, we have to do some extra lines of code. So it depends on you which loop you are comfortable working on and what's the best case to use that. If you don't want to increase your lines of code, go to this for loop. So this was your assignment. Give me a thumbs up if the assignment is clear to you guys. So now let's see what we have. Let's see a quick recap of what we studied today. So today we studied sets and dictionaries. So what is a set? Set is just like list and tuples. But it is built using curly brackets and it cannot contain duplicate values. Set have some built-in functions like intersection, union, and some others. We have used intersection and union. Intersection means out of the list, out of the sets you have provided either 2, 3, 4, 5, it will return you what's common in all of them. That's intersection. Union is the number of sets which you have put to that function. It will give you a sorted list in order, excluding duplicates for all of them. Okay. Then dictionaries are basically a important data structure which is a key value pair. So key means the column name and value means what's the value or what's the attribute in that column. So just like name is Hamza, age is 13, 14, 15, 20, 25, like that. Hobby, basketball. So it's like key value, key value, key value. And then we did an example of like this as well, where we have in a dictionary we have added multiple dictionaries and specified using them with different IDs. So these are called nested dictionaries. Then we discussed our assignment, which I have given the last week. Then we discussed about modules, pip function, what pip function does, random function, we have worked on random function, error handling, we have worked on error handling, what is error handling, try except finally. Try except is a combination, and finally will, if you use finally, it will always print in the end. And then you have a group of try and accept. If your code in try works perfectly, it will print only try and finally. If your code, some code is working in try and not, then it will print try except after the error of in try and then finally. If your code in try is not working, it will print except and it will print finally as well if you have used finally, but finally is optional. You may use that, you may not use that. It depends on your use case if you want to use it or not. So this was the class. For this class, for the next class, we are not having any assignment. Just if you can study a bit of what are functions here, this one, where it is. I have the functions gone on. Uh, yeah, here are the functions. So we'll study the functions because this is really important and this is the most used thing which we'll use. So we'll work on this. Next week, the next class will be whole on functions and we'll be winding up the basics, and then we'll, from the class after that, we'll be moving to advanced things like libraries and modules. Okay. So I am opening the floor for the next 5 minutes. Type any questions if you have in the chat, and then I'll end the call. Thank you guys for joining and hope you are understanding this. Just give me a thumbs up if it's worth it to you guys. Thank you. It's highly appreciated. I'll end the call after 5 minutes. So if you have any questions, just drop them into the message.
So I have a question, sir. Hello.
Yeah, go on.
Ah, I don't know. Before data structures, there's one example you actually did there, using the for loop. I don't know if you can just go there so that I can before data structures. That's before we get to data structure. There's one last example you did there. I have a question to ask there.
This or the assignment?
No, not the assignment. There's one you say for
Okay,
I
okay.
in
Let me open the
LST.
assignment and then yeah, okay, this is the assignment.
No, not this one.
Okay.
The question I want to ask is under for loop.
Uh,
No, sir, it's not this one. It's not this one.
let
Before we get to data structure, there's there's one example you did there under for loop, which says for I in LST, print I. If I multiply by 10 is equals to 100, then break.
Okay, let me check where it is. So here we started loops.
And that's the last example under loop.
This one.
The next one, the next one.
Okay, this one.
No, the last one, sorry, the last one, and this one, and this one.
Oh, okay,
There's
this
something I don't understand here. Yes, because here you said for I in LST, print I. If I times 10 equals to 100, break. And from the initial list, we have the list to be 246 up to 20.
one. Yeah,
But here, it just printed 246 up to 10. So I
yeah.
don't understand. I don't understand, sir. Because normally you didn't give it a range. Since
Yes.
you didn't give it a rate, I was thinking it's supposed to print. It's supposed to print from 22 to 20, but
Yeah.
it's limited itself up to 10.
So if you do this, if you remove this, it will print what you are asking, right?
Okay, okay,
Now we have used it. This means this is a condition. If this condition is true, break the loop. Break means you
okay,
end the loop. So now it will look at every value and see if that value multiplies by 10 equals to 100. If that's equal to
okay,
100, it will break the loop.
okay. I
So
get.
2 multiplied by 10 equals to 100? No. 4? No. 6? No. 8? No. 10 multiplied by 10 equals to 100? Yes. So it breaks the loop at 10. It will not go
O-
after that.
Okay, 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 sir. Thank
Okay.
you very much, sir.
No worries. So Isaac, I think Koblo have done the summarization for the transcript of each and every call. So you can ask Koblu about that. Secondly, I'll be sharing this notebook with Koblu. So Koblu will be sharing this notebook with you guys as well. So you can go through the notebook. All the code and all the output is there. So if you have any questions in the next class, just put those questions out. I'll try to answer those questions. Is that fine? Okay, great. So now I'll end the class and we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Thank you so much for joining and taking out time, and try to keep a pace and try to learn and practice in the next week or every week, because the much you practice, it will be helpful for you in the real world. Because if you only learn and if you don't practice, it will not be more important for you guys, because eventually after a month or 2 months you will forget the logics. So just try keeping yourself into the loop and then practicing your out. Thank you so much. See you next week, man. Enjoy your weekend, all of you. Bye bye.
But I don't see any